All right, we talked about webinars. Let's move on to Webcast software tools. So, webinar applications, webcast, there's a lot of similarities, but unlike the webinars, webcast tools are generally more simple and more straightforward. The reason why is the webinar is more focused on interactivity. Webcasts are more like, hey, let me just talk at you and share what we've got to share. It's trying to speak to a larger audience and not trying to simulate a conversation. Because of that, you'll want to, here I go with my writing again, you'll want to use a tool that can handle larger audience sizes than the fairly small caps of the webinar tools. That's really important. Like if you're trying to reach a large group and if you find out you've got a tool that caps at 50, I don't know if that's really the right thing for a webcast. A webcast is you're trying to get a lot of people to come in. You're really more focused on that awareness stage and just kind of share the information with a large group of people. And another thing to keep in mind is like where I think a webinar is more, it's like the virtual equivalent of a seminar. It's interactive. We want to have a conversation, share some things, talk. A webcast is really more, this is more a lecture. I'm providing some information. It's more one person talks to the many and they listen. And because of that, because it's more passive listening, I think a lot of times webcasts need to have a higher production quality values. You want to make it feel like this is more professional, more inviting, because it's when you're at the awareness stage, people can tune out really quickly. So your job is to hook them, get them engaged, and when they want to learn more, and then they can go to the webinar that follows that and dig in deeper. Okay, I showed 4 of the webinar ones today. I'm going to show you 4 webcast options: Livestorm, Webex Events, Adobe Connect, and On24. So let's get started with the first one, which is Livestorm. This really appears to me to be one of the most popular options across the different reviews I read about different webcast tools. The users highlighted things that they appreciate the ease of getting started and using the software. I think one of the points of differentiation that kept bubbling up is it's got strong streaming capabilities. And that naturally reflects the bias towards webcasting over the more interactive meeting elements of webinar software tools. When you are requiring a registration element for data capture, you really want to make that easy for people that are checking out your webcast, or else they won't sign up and they won't listen. Livestorm wins some points in that area. It's really reducing barriers to entry and just come listen to what you have to say. I think the downside to this tool is it seems to have a greater focus on the original live streaming webcast and less so on like doing replays of previously recorded webcast content. So, in this way it might be more of an event for your event marketing, but not so great at connecting with folks who want to find you at a later time at their own convenience. So keep that in mind. Webex Events. Okay, so Cisco created their really comprehensive Webex software family to be a lot more than just a webcast or webinar tool. But this subsection, this Webex Events, their functionality is designed to do just that. It's utilizing the secure and robust features of Cisco's infrastructure, so that makes it a really popular choice for many large businesses. But this events functionality, it can handle audiences of up to 100,000. Though the free plan, thing you probably guys would be using for this assignment, of Webex Suite Basic is limited to just 100 individuals. One of the downsides of Webex Events is that there's no lobby feature for the webcast mode, so there's no place for people to hang out before it starts if you're doing a live event. And while Cisco is really reputable from an infrastructure point of view, I think there's less thought about the production values and how that's going to help or hurt the brand as they produce quality webcasts. Many companies highlighted that for a higher end solution by like Cisco, they were expecting to see more of an aesthetically pleasing experience in the tool itself. And it's funny because I think that slide actually looks better than this slide, but I do think from what I've been reading, the Adobe Connect, the next tool we're going to look at, does have a better experience. So, it's not going to surprise you, those of you who are familiar with Adobe's family of products, and I assume that's everybody in this class, they're more tuned in to production values of a webcast or a webinar. Their Adobe Connect product, it's more comprehensive communication suite, not just webinar or webcast, similar to Webex by Cisco. So the webcast feature, that's just one mode of their tool. But in some ways that can be great, and that you can switch between webcast, webinar, straightforward video conferencing, and all the other communication features that are all within one tool. But then again, it can be bad in that it lacks some of the other features that make some of these other competitors really great dedicated webcast tools. So for instance, there seems to be some challenges with recording webcasts for future watching with the Adobe Connect. And knowing that is what you'll need to be doing for your class assignment. You might want to try this out before committing to your group using this particular software. On24, on the other hand, that's much more specific. I mean, it might be the right option for your team that, if you want to regularly broadcast webcasts. Their On24 Webcast Elite software, it's clearly designed for the webcasting abilities needed to reach audiences. I really liked that their tool is emphasizing integration with CRM tools. And that makes sense since much of what you were doing with an event like this is trying to generate new sales leads. So beyond standard measurements such as registration and logging in, the On24 Webcast Elite can help with more complex measurement, such as like lead scoring and segmenting. And that of course will only help enrich the relationship marketing application of this event work. And like I said in earlier lectures, that's really important. The downsides to like On24 seem, more like limited. There's sometimes been outages with the software. The tool apparently likes to keep updating regularly, and that would make sense because it's trying to support a rich feature set. Oh, and there's one other very important negative to mention to you. There doesn't appear to be a free trial, and the pricing is hidden behind a request for a call with a sales agent. So I think we can all guess that this will probably be out of the price range for most marketing students, and maybe not the right one for you guys to try the assignment out with. But I did want to mention it because I was really intrigued by a lot of its unique features. Okay, lots of different choices to consider. I just want to make sure that you're able to articulate why you made a certain choice for your team about which one's going to be best for your webcast, and setting up for your theoretical client to succeed with the the webcast you create. Okay, I will see you all in our next lecture. Thanks for joining me.